What's going on, guys? This is the DeFi Crypto Alliance show where we're doing our best to be the bridge between our fellow real estate investors, entrepreneurs alike, and the cryptocurrency world because, gosh, we're in the meat or part of the meat of the bull run. Crypto is the biggest opportunity over the next few years. It's not even close. We're pumped to have you guys along. Welcome along on the journey. Corey, take it away.
Good morning, Hexicans. How are we doing today? We are back, and we are back as strong as ever. Sorry about the kind of the break there, guys. We were just traveling all over the country, including going to Vegas to meet all you guys. That was an amazing time for everybody who was out there in Vegas. Just had a blast with every single one of you. I love really networking and connecting with the community on a deep end, and that's how you do it, is in person. So yeah, just truly blessed. We're going to be trying to start streaming a little bit more. We do have in the middle of this week, I'll be going back to Puerto Rico. So obviously I won't be streaming on Wednesday, but we'll try to see what we can fit in for the rest of the week for you guys, including maybe some open mic Friday, which we all love to come on and talk, game theory, real estate, anything money. We love talking. So man, just kind of an interesting turn of events yesterday on Sunday. I get up on Sunday, thought I was going to have a nice day going to church and hanging out with family. And no, I was smashing buttons all day long yesterday on my computer doing things. And then even after all the hex stuff, I had some Zen mints coming out, which I freaking can't stand anymore, but I'm going to claim them because I was on my computer doing crypto all day yesterday. I was like, God, it's a freaking second job today. But it all started with RH tweeting saying, EHex ain't the real hex. Only use PHex, kind of as what he was saying, and Ethereum sucks. So it's very interesting. We all know this narrative has been around for a very long time. In fact, we've talked about it many times in the show. That, I do believe Pulse Chain Hex is the real hex, but there's no reason why EHex won't have a life of its own in the future. Obviously, it's temporarily demolished for the time being, but I still see a lot of DGen speculating with that coin, and I see a lot of volatility coming into that coin, and it could be to the upside and the downside. So it's almost like a meme coin now, which it kind of was before, in my opinion, because there was not a lot of clarity around it. And so, but yeah, so it's just interesting to see. It does suck for the people. Now, I didn't do this. And I've seen a lot of people on Twitter. There was people who were very upset because they built out like a EHex staking ladder, a big portion of their DCA money, because they felt like they were buying cheaper T shares on the Ethereum side. And so that's where they put a lot of their money. That sucks. And I would have never, we would have never, that's like the worst. And there's some, as I saw some people, they were really upset because I was like, that was my bag. That's what I put all my money into. I'm like, bro, why did you do that? I saw one of
the ladies, she was like, oh, I took my kids, that was my kids' college money and their,
what are you
whatever.
thinking?
It's just like
that is.
I don't understand. I don't understand the thought process here. It hasn't made sense ever since Richard Hart created Pulse Chain. He said from the jump that he created Pulse Chain in order to make it so that people could use Hex to its fullest potential.
Agreed.
Cheaper fees, all that type of stuff. And you still had these lemmings out there telling everyone that, oh, it was still great. And they would clip Richard and they would say, well, Richard wants expensive Hex everywhere. The part they leave out is he says, but the market will decide. You're telling me that you go and build this brand new ecosystem that's cheaper, that's faster, and you're still going to go and give Vitalik money away and ETH gas fees by still promoting your stuff over there. It doesn't make any sense. It never has made any sense. And I really do feel for the people that
feel for them, but it's just not.
But it's been obvious. It's been obvious from the jump.
Right.
Yeah. As long as you weren't listening to the lemmings that have been wrong all bear market, that have been telling the same bullshit stories that haven't been true, and here they are wrong again. And it just like, it breaks my heart to see stuff like this happen. It really does.
100%, man. I mean, I only bought EHex for pure speculation and like the ideology of it reaching parity because, markets are irrational and it can happen, but it will happen for a very short period of time like it did last time. And I still think there could be a future where some dumb whale or the market being irrational could make that thing still go parity. But I would never base my investment thesis or build my portfolio long term out based around EHex. And unless I had that EHex already built out, obviously before the fork, but then you also have PHex, so it doesn't really matter. Like then it's a moot point. But after the fork, it's ridiculous to have focused all your economic energy long term. I think EHex is a great speculative play short term. That's always what I felt like. And even Sami said that too. Sami when it reached parity, he swapped.
And that was nice. Yeah.
To your guys, I know some of you guys on Twitter are saying, and you're pointing like, oh, no. He swapped out of his EHex to PHex when the parity hit, and he swapped out of his PHex into Pulse and Pulse X at the right timing when was at the bottom. Like he's played every ratio trade perfectly. So don't say he was like, oh, this EHex maxi, because he wasn't. He was just saying it was a contrarian play, and it won. It absolutely won. And so like EHex was always the speculative meme coin play. It's always has been. It's since the fork. So it's interesting to see, in my opinion, both sides be wrong about a lot of different talking points, And it's just like, don't build your long-term portfolio out around something
on a meme coin.
Like I wouldn't go and build a long-term portfolio out around just teddy bear. Like I own bear. Don't get me wrong, I own it. Dane owns some P-Dye. I know he does. Like, would you build your entire portfolio around P-Dye and be like, oh, it's going to $1, bro. It's going to $1. I mean, it's just asinine.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, I'm telling you guys, I think I tweeted about this yesterday. I'm telling you, you can make the bull run easier on yourself by making sure that your social media is following people that tend to get things right. All the people that have been shouting from the rooftops how EHex was never going to go away and it was going to be this great thing. I think it's a really practical thought exercise to say, hey, like, is this exposure, is this content, is it something that I want to continue to have exposure to? Because I promise you it will influence how you think and it will influence your behavior. And a lot of people were harmed because of that influence in behavior. And so I can tell you, for me, I went ahead and I just muted all those people because
you're good at the mute button, bro.
Yeah, I don't want to see it. It's just not useful. And man, like how many people got screwed because of the whole like, oh, EHex is going to be great. And some of them were taken in the nuts yesterday, rightfully so. I think it's important to have accountability. And hey, like if you missed, it's fine. Like people miss. Nobody's going to call everything right all the time. If you missed, then like I can tell you from the bottom of my heart, we as the community, largely as a whole, will completely respect apologies. Apologies are so useful. I saw some of them yesterday. I had the utmost respect for some of the guys that were coming out and saying how they missed some things or saying how they acted wrong in some context. That's freaking beautiful. And I'd love to see more of that. We can build together with a little bit more of that type of stuff. But man, like there's still so much time in the bull run to be able to reassess, to build your portfolio in a way that you still can win. And so if you were really harmed, try to take a step back, learn from your experience, pull your head out of the sand. Being in the sand doesn't work here, and be able to repivot to things where you can win.
Absolutely, 100%. And yeah. I'm still in the camp that most of my economic energy, guys, you probably all know, is in Pulse and Pulse X, and now some more ink. I've been still accumulating more ink.
I got a little more too, yeah.
Because we have the ink Maxi in the chat, so I gotta, he's here, and he's not in here, and he's not calling the top of the show either, which is nice. He's here on time for once. But I mean, that's where most of my economic energy went through this depression. When we were prices were getting smashed because of SEC, all my economic energy, well, the majority of it, I did buy some PHex. went towards PulseX and mainly Pulse. Like that is my main store of value. That is the layer one. That is where that's what the game I'm gonna play, and I'm gonna continue playing. I got a lot of node validators. I love my node validators. And so that's just where my heart is at. And, that's fine if I'm wrong. If EHex ends up being the winner of the market, fine. I own some. I own quite a bit, actually. I got a good bag. So, no matter what, I'm not wrong. And I owned a lot less EHex, but EHex was my meme coin play anyways. And when Richard Hart tweeted, I sold my liquid, so I didn't lose too much in economic energy. And this is going to be a surprise to a lot. When EHex bottomed, when I got like 5 times as much, I went and bought my position back at a fraction of the price. And I spent the rest of the money, Dane, on ink.
I like it.
I went and bought more ink. And I was like, so I transferred that economic energy and I still kept my EHex bag. I bought ink. So I'm like, I just accumulate, man. The assets that I love, and I still got my PHex, and now I'm going to play the meme coin game with the EHex, and who knows what's going to happen. And if it goes to 0, that's fine because I spent hardly anything on that now. So it's like, whatever. So yeah, all the dumb narratives going around on both sides of the coin. Like a lot of you guys are wrong on both sides.
Agreed.
On both sides. You guys, and when you're so convicted and you're so like to your way, like there's a lot of fault when you are just seeing one way and you don't open your mind or open your eyes to even though you might be mostly right, you still have a lot of fault in your conviction in what you're saying. So it's just gotta be careful. It's crazy.
Yeah, agreed. I've got a little bit of EHex, but I mean, I think you're just looking at it from a meme coin perspective.
I mean, I think I caught it that,
which I don't think is a bad thing either. Like some of the memes have been running some of the hardest. And,
I think I caught it at
2
2035 when it would crash down there, and I was like,
it's 2037 right now, so it's not. It's
is it
still
37?
yeah.
Oh, it pumped back up to 4 or 5, so I'm already back there.
It's getting sold down some more today. Yeah, it's getting sold down more.
Okay.
But yeah, so I'm telling you, I think the most important thing is anytime we see changes and we see pivots, the most important thing you can do is learn and move on. And in fact, I'm telling you, Corey and I have said multiple times on our show that if you want to stake and you want to accumulate, well, let me say, if we want to stake, we'll speak about our own bags, and we want to accumulate more T-shares. We do it for the cycle with the plan that we can do that for this current crypto cycle, because anybody that had stacked up all these T-shares, they would have loved to have been liquid instead over on EHex to be able to pivot, to look to do other things, because your T-shares will not out-earn big, giant, massive dips. They never will. And so build your bag accordingly. I wish somebody would have beaten this into my face, into my brain
too,
when we first started, and they would have said, hey, like maybe don't consider punting a ton of your money out for 10 to 15 years in a space where this is incredibly speculative. There's only essentially like Bitcoin that's been around for 15 years. Nothing else has. And to think that all this stuff is magically just going to be here, turning out insane profits in 15 years, I hope that it does. Me and Corey both have 15-year stakes. I just wish I would have weighted it less so. And so use these experiences to learn and move on. And we appreciate you guys that are here in the chat. We've got 100, we've almost broke the 200 person viewer mark. It wasn't this hot since the freaking Pulse Chain launch. So everybody's looking for answers here. Thanks for you guys posting in the comments. Feel free to post your questions there. We'll get around to some of that. And it'll be good.
It will be.
Common sense is becoming less common, unfortunately.
Yep, it is. It is. And JB's got a good point too. I don't know if you've been watching what's going on with the Pulse Bitcoin and the 2 different variations of them. Not that I really care much about Pulse Bitcoin anymore because that place got wrecked. But it's funny, the Ethereum side Pulse Bitcoin performs better than the Pulse Chain side Pulse Bitcoin. It's very interesting why that's working that way. Like you would think, I mean, it's got Pulse in its name. But no, you just don't know. Like, markets are irrational, and markets can stay irrational longer than you can stay rational. That's just how it goes. And you don't know what's going to happen in the future, even if it's for a short period of time. And that's the thing with this stuff.
Yeah.
So
And to that point, I think it's important that you're not necessarily like time and time again. Almost every time I've seen somebody be totally wrong in crypto was when they went from all in one position to all in
that's it.
on another. It's just like it's terrible investing. It's absolutely terrible investing. And when you do make pivots, once again, we don't give any financial advice. You make your own decisions. But man, for us, when we make pivots, we try to make them incrementally. We're not swapping. For instance, we didn't swap our entire EHex yesterday and emergency end stake everything to go move out because price was down 50% already at that point by the time you could have done anything about it. Like it's small incremental changes. So I made a small incremental swap yesterday. I still got EHex, like I'll probably hold some of it. I'll swap some more later when I feel like there's an
Meme coin,
opportunity.
bro.
Just like exactly. And I want some of the memes, like the freaking memes moving some of these things, and that's fine, like it's all part of it.
They do. And I see a lot of you guys are watching on Twitter, which is awesome. Come in, subscribe to our show. Come over to Corey Geary or the DeFi Crypto Alliance show and subscribe and hit the bell notification. We try to stream Monday through Friday. Sometimes it doesn't happen because we are busy a lot. We travel around the U.S. For some of you guys who are new here, what we do is we go to all these different real estate events and we onboard real estate guys into the Pulse Chain ecosystem. And we've onboarded some pretty good sized names like Robert Allen. He's one of our buddies and he's in the Pulse Chain ecosystem. So that's kind of what we're about. We bring real estate and crypto together. We always say we want to use crypto as a wealth creation tool and use real estate as a wealth preservation tool. It's one of our favorite sayings. It's just a space that me and Dane known for the last decade or so is the real estate space. And then now we're combining these two asset classes together, which is a beautiful thing.
Yep. Yeah, Alex is definitely one of the ones that's really taken the shorts with this pivot. His plan was to be able to make it so that Hedron and Icosa were interchangeable for one another on both Ethereum and Pulse Chain, but it looks like he's holding to that from the more recent tweets I've seen, right?
And there comes in your meme coin play. Like, what if they launch the contract and it has that interoperability and like your EHex might do a small little run. And then for me, and I've always said it, if I get even close to parity, I'm swapping my EHex to PHex, of course, or the Pulse. Like, guys, Pulse is my store of value. I know some of you guys are more of a Hex maxi, and that's fine. We can all live under the same roof. You don't have to like the same food I like, and we can still live in the same house. That's just how it goes. And but yeah, I mean, I'm gonna play the game. And at the end of the movie, my objective is how much Pulse can I stack up in this bull run. That's like why I buy every meme coin. That's why I do anything in Pulse Chain. Is even in Ethereum. Like, I have some plays over there that I'm bringing back into Pulse Chain. It's like how much Pulse can I stack up throughout my journey here as my store of value. That's my mindset anyway. So
let's talk about that more, Corey, because I want to dig into that thought process because I think it's a solid one, especially when you look back at other blockchains. Outperforming the layer one is difficult. There's not many things typically on a blockchain that do right long term, right? They can do it for small spells, but typically, like over a bull run, for instance, it just doesn't happen frequently. We're seeing Ink and PulseX consistently outperform Pulse. Do you think that that's more likely to continue or less likely? And if it's less likely and Pulse starts outperforming at some point, why would it do that? What does that look like?
I think it keeps continuing for a while. I don't know how long it can go on for. Like,
you think PulseX and Ink continue to outperform Pulse?
Sure. Yeah. I think they could be the main drivers for a while. I mean, because here's why. Those are the two cryptos or the two coins out of the ecosystem that just got obliterated. I know you can say EHex got 99% down, but now we know that EHex is the meme coin. Like, those two got obliterated, man. I mean, the Ink went down for like ever, and everyone just said that was the dead token. And I think the only guy who was buying or farming it was probably Brizology. But like literally, they just got demolished, so they have so much more to make up. I think they can run for a while, man. I don't know. It's hard to say, but there will be a point, and maybe there are some like Fibonacci levels we can look at. This would be a good question for like Sprack Burger. What points, Inc. and Pulse X measured against Pulse, at Fibonacci's, does it look like the switch will take place, right? Where Pulse starts outperforming those two assets. I don't know. I'm not a TA guy, but I bet you can go on there and draw some lines and kind of get some ideas where that might take place. Is where
So if you feel that way, why do you continue to weight more heavily towards Pulse?
Well, I'm not going to pretend like I can. I'm not going to pretend like I know the market and go like take my pulse that I've already accumulated, right? Because most of my pulse is in node validators. So I have to unwind the node validators, go swap it for Pulse or Ink. I'm just not going to do that. And I'll just bring new money in and accumulate the other assets as I'm moving forward, right? Because now, to your point, Dane, if I go back like maybe 6 months before I was doing this node validators, or maybe when I was DCAing the bottom, when I was really going heavy at the bottom, I was going heavy on Pulse. I mean, right, hindsight's 2020. I would have gone a lot heavier in Pulse X and Ink when we were at the bottom.
Yeah, of course, right, of course.
I mean, that's hindsight, right?
Like, moving forward, you're just building out some of those.
I'm just building them. I'm like, I need a layer one, because one of my close friends in Puerto Rico, he's an Ethereum Genesis swell. He's day one ETH. He's like, Corey, your only objective is to get how can you acquire more Pulse? He's like, that's it. He's like, I participated in many different blockchains. I was day one Ethereum. And he goes, the number one mistake I made was participating in all the other garbage that was on there if I did not go back into Ethereum or go back into the other. As long as I went back in, he goes, every single time, history's told us the layer one will outperform long term. You have to be able to beat the layer one in the short term to justify or rationalize being in that token or in that crypto. And so that's why when I was DCAing in the bottom there, it was like, I wouldn't imagine have Ink do what it did, but it did. And so now, right, like if I could turn back the clock, would I? But I'm not going to go unwind my node validators now after Ink's done a 14, 15, 18x and put that into Ink. But I will put new money into Ink. I will put new yield into Ink. I will put and I'll continue building the bag out, or Pulse X, right? And that's just the way my mindset is. I try to stay as conservative as possible. I don't want to be a trader. But yeah, sure. Let's wind back the clock, and I'd put in a few $100,000 into Ink, and mainly Ink. Screw everything else, man.
You put it all into Ink, right?
I put all in the Ink, man. Be like, here I go at 40 cents. Here it is, guys. And in that way, I can freaking tell Brizology to F off this freaking Ink Maxi. No, I'm not cooking fish in the microwave. What the heck's he talking about over there?
Right. This is a good question from Big Calzone. Can you explain how pairs work in comparison to only holding one of the pairs? Big Calzone, if you want to provide some clarification, do you mean in respect to a liquidity pool? Do you mean how the two work independently of each other? I mean, the two hexes are two separate tokens with their own same systems, but two different blockchains. They'll operate independently of each other because the liquidity bonding between the two is very low, because there isn't very strong liquidity bonding the two together. And so they're going to run independent of one another. I don't know if that's helpful, but feel free to provide more context if we did not answer your question sufficiently.
Yeah, because that could be to liquidity. When you provide liquidity, we're not sure exactly what it is.
Yep. I thought we'd have more hate in the comments here. I thought more heads in the sand.
They're all on Twitter, bro. They can't comment on
everything.
I have 134 people watching on my Twitter. Guys, come into the show and subscribe. Let's go. You can post your hate comments on why I think the maxis are the PHex maxis are wrong and the EHex maxis are wrong. You both are wrong. Just telling you, you both are wrong. So stay convicted in your own way.
Yep. Yeah, this is a great comment by Miri. Right. Having Hex on Pulse Chain allows you to be able to use it as it was intended to be used.
I agree.
It did. Yeah.
That's a fair statement. I mean, if I'm building out anything long term with Hex, obviously it's going to be PHex. Like it's just retarded to like not think otherwise. It really
Yeah.
is. It's just it's really retarded to not think otherwise.
Yeah.
To Hex Monkey there, talking about building a ladder. Like if you're starting now, if you are starting now, and I had an onboard and they wanted the ladder, although we're not the biggest ladder fans unless it's a market cycle ladder, but if they wanted the ladder, I'd be like, look, man, you need to build it on Pulse Chain. There's no two questions about it. It needs to be on Pulse Chain. I would not drive that. I would say go buy some EHex, but that's your meme coin play. That's part of your lottery. The lottery
Right.
bucket that Tommy likes to talk about, the 90-10. For me, it's how I've always treated it. I always bought it with the intention of trading out of it in the short term. Always what the play was.
And I just, yeah, I'm not a big fan of laddering out your stakes. I just
I'm
think
not
that
either.
like it doesn't make
Not
any
either.
sense. When you know these assets are going to pull back 90% in a bear market, it makes absolutely no sense to be holding it. In fact, I feel like this is a mentality that I see all the retail coming in right now. We've got a bunch of freaking real estate retail guys and are trying to help them. And you see them, Corey, because I know you're friends with them, just like me on freaking Facebook and Instagram, where they're like, I'm buying Bitcoin for the long term. I'm going to hold it for 10 years, bro. And I'm like, well, I anticipate a 70% dip next go around.
And they'll sell there.
Yeah, and you didn't have to be a genius to like take a little bit of profits along the way, take some chips off the table, and you'd be in such better shape. Me and Corey will buy back 10 times the T shares during the next bear market than it ever made sense to accumulate them now and stake it out 10 to 15 years. We just will, because this isn't rocket science and you don't need to be perfect. But gosh, like you could take some profits along the way and do this differently. If you feel like you're not going to ever watch a price chart, you never want to understand how the markets work, you don't care about how crypto works, and you're going to set one staking ladder up once and then forget about it, go do a staking ladder. Otherwise, everyone in this chat is smart enough and can be sophisticated just a little bit to do better than that.
That's what I was going to say, Dane. The one exception is the guy who has like maybe a couple grand or maybe a few grand, and he just wants to like not ever look at crypto ever again, like or whatever. Like he wants to go do his thing in the real world, and like he's just not involved in the community, in the space. That's where a ladder to me makes sense, because then you don't got to like worry about it, manage it. I mean, that's the only time for me it makes sense. Now, yeah. It's
yeah, that's fair. Preferred method of on-ramping into Pulse Chain. This is a cool update. So the guys from 0x Coast have been tweeting more recently. It sounds like they'll be theoretically operational here in the near term. If you haven't used 0x Coast, oh my gosh, it is a crypto wet dream. Their service and platform works incredibly smooth, and you could on-ramp directly into Pulse Chain, avoid all the ETH fees. Right now, we don't have that. So our guys in our community have been using something like Kraken or crypto.com or Coinbase to be able to turn their fiat into crypto there and then use the bridge to come over. If you have smaller amounts of money that you're going to come and on ramp, you know, when I say smaller, maybe it's like 5K or less, then going and on ramping via the Arbitrum bridge is pretty slick because, or I should say, you can go to Arbitrum. So this is the flow. Go to Coinbase or Kraken or whatever you like. Go and buy Ethereum on Arbitrum, and then you go ahead and send it to your. We prefer hardware wallets. Send it to your hardware wallet on the Arbitrum network, and then from there you can go and use the SparkSwap bridge over at sparkswap.xyz to bring your money across, and it's incredibly cheap. The problem is the liquidity to do that is relatively thin. And so we tried to do like 20K last week, and you'd only end up with like 16 grand in value. It didn't work in that respect. So if you've got a stack, call it, you know, more than like 5K, then you're probably just going to use the traditional bridge that Richard's team has created. We're going Coinbase, Kraken, whatever exchange you like, Ethereum to your hardware wallet, and then from there using the bridging over to Pulse Chain.
Yeah, I'm pretty bullish on Coast, man. They wouldn't have given that an update today if they weren't like pretty close with some, relaunching with other banking partnerships. Because that's what was the problem they had, guys. The banks they were dealing with here in the U.S. had some issues, And so they shut down because of that. Probably the same reason why TUSD, the trust token, guys shut down, and I haven't seen them reemerge. I know they've been in the talks. I get emails from them once in a while. They've been in the talks too of relaunching, which would be cool because they were good. They were a great on ramp to Ethereum that was pretty painless. Like you would literally just wire them money, and then that TUSD would automatically mint into your wallet. So as long as you had Ethereum in your wallet already, like it's literally like it's such an easy process versus going to the centralized exchange and then blocking you and like they telling you, oh, you got to wait 17 days or 7 days before you can withdraw your money. It's such a pain in the butt, man. It's like my money, give me access to it. Stop gatekeeping my money. And that's why I love Trust Token and Coast. Is because they just flow so easy in out. If you want to cash out,
That's
that
nice.
too. You can, yeah, you send money and it goes right to your bank.
Yep. Gosh, we've got over 300 of you guys on live right now. We appreciate you. There's a ton of you that are new here. So once again, like Corey said, Corey and I have been investing in real estate for almost a decade. We've made a ton of money doing that. We've been really blessed. We're using real estate as a wealth preservation tool and crypto as a wealth creation tool right now. There is no bigger opportunity, and we love the Richard Hart ecosystem. So if you're not already, come and check out our YouTubes. Come and subscribe, like all that type of stuff. We try to do this Monday through Friday. We're on the road a lot. We go all over the country in the United States, onboarding people, teaching people how to use the Richard Hart ecosystem. It's been a blast. We love doing that. So otherwise, we're here streaming. So make sure that you don't miss out on that stuff. I'm telling you, you need a plan for this bull run to exit the market in a tax advantaged way. If you don't have that, you're going to get bent over and screwed by the tax entity of whatever country it is that you may live in. If you haven't given a 6-figure check to the IRS, then I can tell you from personal experience, it is incredibly painful. You only need to do that once to say, hey, I need to figure out how to do this better. You can avoid all that by putting a plan in place now. You can come do it with us if you want. We're going to take profits. We're going to do real estate, oil and gas, business mergers and acquisitions. Those are all things we have experience in. We feel like we're quite good at. And if you want to come do those deals with us, make sure that you're following so you can get all this content. You can have a tax advantage exit strategy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Including moving to Puerto Rico, which is one of my favorite tax advantage exit strategies right now. I'll be back on the island Wednesday. So if you guys are out in Puerto Rico and you want to hang out and have a coffee, have lunch, have dinner, whatever, hit me up on Twitter, DM me. We'll go hang out. I love hanging out with Hexicans. I love networking with this community. You guys are truly what makes the show, truly makes what the community is, what this asset class is. It's you guys that makes this asset class special. It is amazing that you guys are on this journey with us. We love every single one of you. Even the maxis or the toxicity, which Dane blocks out, there's some good in all of us. So yeah, it's we love it, man. We're here for it.
Speaking of Puerto Rico, I've been here a week and 2 days now. So my family and I made the move right before Richard's last rage pump, which was excellent timing. Sometimes your timing is beautiful. Sometimes you're off. That was a big win for us. So we've been in here. The weather is beautiful. The food is freaking expensive. I can't believe I feel like I live in New York City when I go to the grocery store, how expensive the food is.
Jeez. Yes.
But it's been great.
Try going to the Asian grocery store. So there's an Asian grocery store in San Juan, and they import their food from New York. And we go to the Asian grocery store here in Arizona, dude, it's like 5 times. Like it is ridiculous how much more money we spend for Asian groceries. But like I have to have it for my wife because that's what she cooks. Sure. She cooks at home, and then mainly just like certain seasons and sauces that she needs. So like if we're getting meats and stuff like that, or even certain vegetables, we won't buy it there because it's so expensive. But like certain seasons and sauces, you can't get anywhere else. You just can't. You have to go there. It's like it's expensive, man. And like you can tell the guy
$7 for a gallon of milk the other day in Utah. Oh, yeah. I haven't paid more than like three and some change. It's wild. Everything's priced that way in
And
the
you got
grocery
kids,
store.
so
It's at least double.
they probably go through a lot of milk.
Oh, we're pretty good. We need a cow at my house with all my kids, man. It's
Now,
crazy.
Dane, you'll have to find that farm. There's a farm in Dorado
Mm,
that has like fresh cheese, meats, milks. There's pig, chicken, and it's all there, organic, farm grown. The steaks are phenomenal. I brought home steaks from there and I cooked them up. Oh my god, bro, they were so good.
delicious.
And so like you'll have to find that spot. I'll show it to you. Like I said, I'm there on Wednesday. That's a good place. And then you still pay premium, but like at least it's
Sure.
really good and good for you.
At least you were paying
Uh,
premium or getting quality food, right? Right.
exactly.
Do you want to take this one, Corey, or I can do it either way?
Well,
He's saying back to the question with the hexes. He's saying explain both the liquidity pools and individually. Let's go back and look at the original
well,
question.
I will start with the liquidity pool side of things. So if you're talking about what just hexes, you got to be really careful because if EHex is more of a meme coin play and just pure speculation where people should not be building out their store of value from, well, then ideally you're going to have that volatility in your liquidity pool. So if you type PHEX and EHex in there, you're going to have times where like, man, EHex is just going to be tanking and PHEX might be ripping. What happens in that scenario? What happens is you're left with the least amount, more of the least amount of value token, which in that case would be EHex. So at the end of the movie, you'd be pulling your liquidity out and you got all EHex, you're gonna be pissed off. So I'd be very careful. Now there's some people who are doing it and they're really good at it. But if you're kind of newer to crypto and you're just kind of experimenting around with liquidity providing, I would not say the hexes would be a good option, especially right now. Let them maybe down the road, we'll see what happens. And maybe like Hex settles at like a 10-1, basically 1 to 10, like type ratio. They kind of settle there. You need the volatility to be ironed out a little bit. And right now, liquidity pools is just not the place to be doing that at. You can hold them individually because that's just like you're holding them in their own narratives, right? PHEX is like the real hex, store of value on Pulse Chain. And then EHex can be a very speculative meme coin play that can run up against all of it in short burst. So that's like I said, I only buy EHex for myself for the short burst trading aspect. That's it. I don't plan on owning EHex, and mainly to go on the Pulse. Really is what I buy. Pulse is my store of value. So that's my 2 cents on it. If you want to fill any gaps
Yeah.
there, game.
One of the biggest problems I see it all over Twitter is people are like, "Well, I don't care which asset I hold, so I'm just going to put them into a pool, and I'm just going to provide liquidity, and I'll make this passive income." You will care an inordinate amount when you go to take profits if you do the math and you see the impermanent loss absolutely destroyed you. That I see this. This is such a big common mistake in liquidity pools. You are going to care in a huge way. Point in case, right? Right now, let's talk about hexes. So all the people that were providing liquidity over on Ethereum or over in the 93 pools where they had hex from Ethereum on one side and hex from Pulse Chain on the other, and then hex from Ethereum just got destroyed. Well, the way those pools work is they're balancing. It was selling your more valuable hex on Pulse Chain for the less valuable hex over on Ethereum. And you care a whole lot when price does what it does, just like this over the last couple of days. You care a lot which one you hold. And so I would heavily recommend if you want to go and try out liquidity providing, which there's a time and a place for it. Corey and I have done our fair share and we'll continue to do it during the right times. But man, like if you haven't done it before, just go do a small amount over on one of the V3 pools.
Very small.
Like a few $100, see how it works, calculate the math. But I'm telling you, like right now, I can tell you what I'm doing. I pretty well pulled all my liquidity positions. I want to be positioned where I have no impermanent loss risk. I want to have all the appreciation upside with where we're at in the cycle right now. It'd be different if I had enormous bags, right? If I had 10 million bucks worth, if I was Rackham, for instance, well, then I'd be doing a lot of liquidity providing because you're never going to exit that position in total without getting absolutely destroyed. So there's a use case for which it makes a ton of sense. But with volatility hugely to the upside, we anticipate over the next who knows, number of months or a year or so. I want to be positioned for the appreciation.
Agreed. It reminds me of a recent experience I had. I had a little bit of ink and Pulse X farm, and I decided to beef up that farm. This was like maybe a month or 2 months ago because, man, I got tired of the ink maxi coming in here all the time. And I was like, how can I catch up to the ink maxi? Well, let me beef up my farm here. And I went pretty heavy on that. But man, ink started ripping, and I watched it in real time how it was losing massive value out of my ink. I said, screw this shit. I pulled it. And so what I did is like, well, if I want more ink, I'll just buy it. So I did a massive buy to load up my bag. I was like, screw try to like farm it for me. In a bull market for assets that I love, like it didn't work out for me. So I'm still farming. I have a lot of LP positions over in the Fux protocol. So I have a bunch of LPs spread out over there. Those are what I just to earn a little bit of Fux and passive income and rewards that I always swap for whatever assets that I'm shopping for at that time. And so that's where I'm doing some. And your permanent loss risk is a lot less. You still have it, but you get a lot less over in the Fux protocol versus over on like Pulse X, where you do like the ink and Pulse X pair with a 50-50 ratio. Man, you can I was watching it get destroyed. Lily Dane by the hour. I would go in there every hour, and I was watching my ink bag just get destroyed. I was like, you got to be kidding me. I was like, no. I'm like, I'll just go buy a bunch. I want more ink. I'll just go buy it. Like, and that's what I did. I got the easier way.
I like
there's
it.
an easier
That's
way to
the
this.
right play for most people. Just go buy it if you want.
There's an easier way.
Yeah. Yeah. Appreciate this, JB. I hate that you guys make so much sense. Hey, we try to, man. We're trying to cut through all the narratives.
We tell everyone everybody's wrong.
Talk about narratives, man. If you wanna go lose this bull run, if you wanna go make terrible
don't even bring his
decisions for
name up.
yourself, go follow this guy.
Oh my God, he's one of the worst.
What an idiot! I just can't.
Oh God,
I can't say enough bad stuff. We could devote a whole show. What an idiot! Go follow him if you want to get wrecked.
We should, man. We'd probably have 500 people show up for that show because it'd be so controversial.
So stupid, man. These are great comments, you guys. Seriously, like, we appreciate you guys being here. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. We want to cut through all the narratives to help you guys win this bull run instead of getting wrecked. We've been here for a number of years. We want to help you make good decisions. You make your own financial decisions for yourself. We'll share what we do, and you can use that for whatever you see fit.
Yep. For all we care, you can go buy bonds, right? We can't tell you when to push the buy and sell button, but like, I know when I push the buy and sell button.
Right. Yeah, seriously. Some people still don't get it. The big guy puts the ratios. So to bet against him now when he has been extremely clear, is unbelievably intelligent. If you're betting against him now, it's a meme coin play, and that's fine. I think there's a time and a place for everything. I don't want to bet against the billionaire that uses, well, we don't know what he does. There is an entity that's the largest DAI holder in all of crypto that likes to buy things over on Pulse Chain, not Hex on Ethereum. And I
he's an ETH holder now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's an ETH holder now. Yeah. So one of the largest ETH holders likes to come and buy stuff over on Pulse Chain. I want to hedge that way. This isn't rocket science. I want to hedge myself that way, and I sleep really good at night doing that.
Especially the long term for my market cycle. Yeah, there's no other way to play the game.
Yep. I think this is a pretty good take, and I want to be like, I don't want to be too quick to say that somebody will never let something happen. How many people said Richard will never let Hex over on Ethereum die? He'll never let it be cheap over there. And I just, you miss careful all the time if you're too specific about things that
one way
must happen.
Done.
Yep.
That's when you get wrecked.
Yep. Yeah, I love this. Zoom out, everyone. We're in the right place in the RH ecosystem.
I agree with that, Hex Monkey. And it was awesome hanging out with you over in Vegas, man. That was a blast. Hopefully we have more times like that.
Right. Yeah. Don't come to the island, though. It's terrible. Yeah.
It gets a little humid, Motley, and the mosquitoes suck.
He's trying to keep people off so we can have it to ourselves.
I like having a little Hexaco out there, man. It's nice. It's nice to have friends to go hang out with and talk about the things that you love and do, right? Like that's what it, and we have a lot of community there, which is awesome.
Yeah. I love this question. So nobody knows how high this stuff will go. So we're not going to be here and tell you guys that we're all going to go get 1,000x because nobody knows. It's unknowable. But we could give you some of the things that we're thinking through, and you guys could potentially use some of those thought processes for your benefit. So he says, curious to see your take on the current bull. Suggests a rapid bull run potentially reaching its peak by late 2024. Regardless of gains, whether, yada, it may be wise to contemplate profit taking. Absolutely. So a few indicators I'm looking for myself. I'll give you a few ideas, and then Corey, you can add in here as well.
Sure.
Man, I really like the Coinbase app as an interesting indicator as
Tommy
to
pointed that out.
Yeah, and shout out to Sami. That's where I got it from. You're looking for indicators to say like how frothy is the market right now. And one of the things that you could look at is the Coinbase app has, I believe it's the last bull run or the last two, it's become the most downloaded app on the iOS App Store. And within either immediately or within a 2-week time frame, things were up. The gig was over and the market started rolling over again. So I think that's a really interesting one to pay attention to. I think S&P 500, I think Fed rate cuts, I think the Ethereum ETF, all those things are really interesting to pay attention to. Richard's calling for over a $200,000 Bitcoin. I mean, I'll give you news. If Bitcoin gets to over 200K, we will be buying jets and islands, and thank God that we're here in Puerto Rico. So we'll see. Those are a few of the things that we're paying attention to. I don't think the rate cut's bullish in any way, shape, or form. I think that's super bearish. So when that happens, that's not a time. There's going to be a lot of influencers, and I'm already seeing them. They're like, rate cuts. Imagine when they do the rate cuts, bro. We're going to go to the moon. I don't think so. We will be taking profits. You can do whatever you want. We'll be taking profits. So I don't know. Those are some things I'm looking at. How about you, Corey?
I mean, you hit the nail on the head, man. I don't know what else. You want to look and follow macro. Macro is everything. Never bet against the Fed. Those kind of, old stock market narratives are still hold true more than anything. It holds true in crypto too. I mean, if the U.S. economy is just getting wrecked, which we don't know if it will, or we're not saying it will or will not yet, guys, but if it does, I don't think crypto is going to be holding its head above water very well. I mean, there could be some argument to say that, okay, well, yeah, institutional money's buying Bitcoin and Ethereum at tune of billions or millions or billions of dollars. Maybe that will hold it up. But I don't think, because then Grandma Ethel can't buy that Bitcoin because her stock market portfolio is so far down. And so they coincide together. And so we just got to keep an eye on that. But I think you hit the nail on the head on all the different indicators that are great to keep an eye on. There's things you can look for on charts like the Mayer multiple. Crispy Man has a really good front end with all these different indicators now that he built out.
There's some really cool stuff he's building.
Really cool stuff with a very small subscription cost that's been correct on every Bitcoin top. And so I might end up subscribing to that just for frame of reference, more data, guys. You can't have enough data. You want to look at all the different data points you possibly can. You want to look at all the different, macro things going around you possibly can. And you better believe I'm taking profits. Like this whole hashtag never selling, stake everything. No, I am liquidating my entire portfolio this market cycle. So I am not waiting 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I'm getting out.
You can wait 15 years to get rich, bro. What about that?
Yeah, now. And then I will come back in again in the bear. I will come back in again. I'm not leaving. I love crypto. I love the space, but I am taking my money off the table when the market cycle tells me it is time. I am gone. That's it. That's it. I mean, besides my stupid mistake of 555 stakes in the very beginning, I probably won't EESs. I'll let those cook. Right?
Sure.
Whatever. But that's just that's what we're doing.
Yep. Yeah, if you want to connect with us about Puerto Rico, feel free to just send us a DM on Twitter. That's probably the best way. We'd love to connect. That'd be a blast.
And fair warning, this week might be a little rough for me just because I fly in Wednesday, and then of course like Thursday, like that week it's going to be me getting my crap together, and I still have a lot of stuff to do onboarding, and so it's going to be a busy week this week.
Yep, I like it. Yeah, I agree. Lots of you guys with comments along the same vein. I think it's beautiful that Richard's trying to rally people. It's way better to have money focused in one asset. But man, like you still see people with heads in the sand. Man, I don't know how much we'll get united around it, but at least there's some clarity there, which I think is good.
There is some clarity. Yep. I mean, we knew it all along. I mean, dude, when I was buying Hex for like, okay, I'm going to hold this Hex for the term of the market cycle, it was PHex. That was me building the PHex bag. And I even have a nice monthly rolling stake of my PHex market cycle bag. So it's like, yeah, I don't roll my stake with EHex. It just sits there in my wallet and does nothing. It collects dust.
Right.
I'm not going to Ethereum and doing that every month. I'm like, no, it sits on Pulse Chain and collects dust.
Right. Yeah, if we want to talk about bullish scenarios, I mean, you guys, this could get so stupid. I mean, Richard could beat the SEC this year, maybe. I mean, maybe the judge throws it out near the end of the year when they're scheduled to meet again.
That might be the top.
That might be the top. That could be the top. I mean, things can get nuts so fast. You have to make your bets early and then ride those things and hope that you're right. And then adjust as you go along. Like, it's fine to update your worldview and make adjustments. So many people don't. They're going to do one thing and think in a silo forever, and then they get stuck. Don't let that be you. Yeah, don't let that be you. Oh, good. We answered the questions. Cool. Glad that was helpful. Yeah, let's see. If you guys haven't figured out only one entity's opinion matters in this ecosystem, you may need to go back to the RH ecosystem Blackboard. Yep, I agree with that. Let's see. So Tom says, sorry for not understanding this, but if Alex creates parity between his ICOSAs, wouldn't that open the door for creating parity between hexes?
Sure,
theoretically,
temporarily. That's your meme coin play, Tom. That's your meme coin play. You hold your EHex and then you swap it into PHex, and that happens because I don't know how long that would last. It would be like the narrative would drive it up. Like, the only thing I understand in crypto is everything's narratives. Nothing is truth. Everything is just narratives. And so even though he's launching this contract that will stake EHex on Pulse Chain, it's still a narrative. Play the narrative. It's like, oh God, that's one thing I've learned about crypto. There's no truth. It's only narratives.
Agreed. Yep, agreed. I like it. Cool, guys. Well, I think we pretty well nailed most of the questions. We're not going to get to all of them today. You guys just blown the chat up. This has been awesome. We've got 359 of you, which for our show is a record. So we appreciate you guys being here. Once again, if you haven't, make sure that you come to the channels, like, subscribe, share this if you found any value
on YouTube.
here. Yeah, come on YouTube. But retweet the share too. Retweet what we're doing here. I'm telling you guys, like, I see so many new people that have just been gutted with the EX thing because they were following all the wrong people that told them to go and accumulate EHex. Yeah, narrative. There's an asshole. That is accurate, sir. Absolutely. But make sure, share good information. I think this is so simple, but share information that you actually feel like is accurate, where you get value instead of all these lemmings that share a bunch of bull crap that proves to be wrong over and over and over again. I don't understand why people continue to follow people that are wrong over and over and over. You will be a bag holder. And for those of you that remain bag holders, we appreciate your service.
I guess on that note, that was a mic drop, so we can peace out.
All right, deal. Appreciate you guys.
See you guys.